So next, we're going to get bag 122, which is the tail assembly. And this bag contains a printed part, the tail connector, and a bag of small parts, fastening hardware, and then a piece of speedometer cable that's used as the tail structure. For now, I'm going to put the cable back in this bag and set it aside, just because we won't want to have that attached while we're still manipulating the robot. Okay, so in the hardware bag, we'll find 5 screws, and 4 of them are 6 millimeters in length, and 1 of them is 8 millimeters in length. So the 8 millimeter screw is used to hold the tail wire in place. It comes through this threaded insert, and it acts as a set screw. So I'm going to go ahead and just screw this in, just so we can keep it where it needs to be, and it'll be there ready for us whenever we attach the tail wire. I'm just going to screw it in pretty far so it doesn't fall out. Now, we're going to take this tail connector piece and attach it to the tail wag actuator, just like this. So we will use our 4 M2 6 millimeter screws to do that. And I'll do that by just picking one of these 4 holes, starting there, just to align everything. I'm just going to bring this screw in almost all the way, but not completely. So it's anchored there. And then we'll go straight across from that screw here and get this aligned with the servo horn, which it feels like it is. We'll go ahead and bring that one in. Yep, okay. So we've got our alignment. And then let's go ahead and add these other 2 screws. And then we just want to make sure that this actuator is able to move freely. So I'm just going to grab this tail connector and just make sure that it's free to move. And then I'll put it back at 0. So next we're going to move back to the front section of the robot. I'm just going to put the back section up here. And we're going to need bags 315 and 316. And so that's the head pan fan and the head roll fan. So we'll go ahead and take the front section of the robot. We're going to be up here. And we've got these 2 fan holders that are not populated. So I'm going to go ahead and take bag 315, which is the pan fan. And that's for the pan motor here. Actuator number 5. And just unwind this wiring. And so I'm going to just take this cable and I'm going to push it through this opening from the inside of this fan holder like this. And this will be a really snug fit, so give it a little pull. Just come right through like that. Pull that cable through. Bring this fan up, and we want the label to face us so that the air is flowing out away from the actuator. And I'm going to bring it in like this so that the cable passes over the fan. I'll just push that fan down into place, pull that cable through. So you can see it's just passing right over it. And we'll just put this cable to the side for right now. Spin this around and get our head roll fan. And And we'll go ahead and unwind this wire. And we'll take the end of this cable, and I'm going to run it from the inside through this slot and out in this direction. Pull our fan up. Same thing for this fan. We want the label to face us with the arrow pointing outwards. And so I'm going to also bring this one in like this. And push the fan down into place and pull the cable over it like that. I'm just going to let this cable hang here for right now. So next, we'll need bags 205 and 308. And we'll start with bag 205, which is for the ear actuators, and bag 308, which is for the muzzle speaker. We're going to take this cable for the ear actuators, and you'll see that one end has two 3-pin mini Spox connectors, and one end has the smaller JST style connectors. So we want to have this routed up to our actuators like that. So bring it right up here to connect. And then let's go ahead and in the muzzle speaker bag 308, there is a speaker and a cable. So I'm going to set the speaker itself aside for right now and just work with the cable. So this cable, one end has a mini Spox receptacle on it, and the other end has two wires that go into the audio amplifier. And so this wire, we also want to come up here. And so the speaker will be in the nose, or in the muzzle of the robot, and it will have a wire that comes back to connect to this, but we want it to sit behind this head plate. So to do this, we're going to need to remove this wire routing bar that we previously put in place. And that's pretty easy to do. If you remember, we just have these two screws here that are holding it in place, and those are M2 10mm screws. So we'll just go ahead and unthread that. And I'm just going to back it out far enough so that this bars can move freely. You can see it can move there. And I'll do the same thing over here, so that we can remove this bar. And there we have that free. Okay. I'm going to bring the head down just a little bit so that we can see what we're working with. We'll take our cables here, and what we want to do is we'll bring our ear servo cable through this middle channel here, like that. And we'll bring our audio through this side channel on the robot's left side, like that. So they'll fit completely down into these channels, like that. And this will just go against this plate, just like that. So I'm going to just put this back in position with these wires pushed through it. And I've went ahead and this is color-coded red and red, so I've just put it in the orientation so that those can match up easily. I'm going to spin this over. We're going to hold this bar firmly in place while we tighten these screws back down. Make sure they're aligned and that they connect into our bar to hold it into position. Let's see how that did. Yep. Okay. Make sure those are all the way in. Good deal. And so you can see now we've got our two cables in position here. And at this point, we can go ahead and connect the ear actuators to these. Plug them each in. Make sure they're fully in. There we go. Okay, those are good to go now. We've got a lot of cables to sort out here. Okay, I'm going to set this speaker aside for later. Next, we'll continue working with our front part of the robot, and we need cables 209 and 210, and these are for the IMU and the capacitive touch sense board. So let's start with cable 209, which is for the IMU. And just bring the robot around like this. Set these ear actuator wires to the side. And we'll take, and we have this large connector here for the IMU. So go ahead and plug that in place here, just like that. And then I'm going to take this cable, I'm going to just let it lay here for a second. And then I'm going to take my cable 210, which is for the touch board. And so it's got smaller and larger side. So the larger side fits into the touch board. Plug it in right here. Just make sure it fits in fully, like that. And then I'm going to route these to opposite sides. And I kind of want to pull them up and out of the way. So I'm going to pull the IMU up like this. And then I'm going to just crimp it between this little loop that sticks out for the sensor stack. And so I just want to pull this flexible wire into this little area, just like that. And there we go. And this is going to route down this way. So then I'm going to take the touch sensor and I'm going to do something similar with it. Kind of pull it like that and bring it around through this loop on this side. So I can get a little bit of slack in the cable, pull it under through this opening. Make sure I get all the conductors through like that. Okay. And so now I've got my two wires routed out either side, like that. Okay.